What's made America so great is its beginning. We start with Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving is something that not too many nations has a Thanksgiving. And we do. I believe there's about 9, and one of them is from the United States. Liberia, in Africa. They get this, those that want to go back to Africa after the Civil War, they went to Liberia. So that's the reason they had a Thanksgiving dinner. So I wanted to mention that. But Thanksgiving dinner started in 16, 20, 21, something like that. I'm going to tell you in a minute. But anyway, it was, y'all about ready for us? I want to send them down a little bit. You better hurry up. But Thanksgiving was given early during and the first part of the turkey was celebrated by a 55-pound turkey was given, went back to farm under John Kennedy. That's where that started from. Parting the turkey and giving it, going sending it back. Now, Bush started giving one every year. He made it a tradition, but John Kennedy first sent one back. Thanksgiving started during the Civil War in '63. Abraham Lincoln thought it'd be good, but the Southerners didn't think it was too good. Well, they did it. So anyway, but it is, and out of all the Psalms, I think 100 Psalms is the closest to. That section of Psalms is all Thanksgiving Psalms. And it says in Psalms 100, verse 3 and 4, know ye that the Lord He is God, and it is He who's made us, and not we ourselves. We are His people and the sheep of His pasture. Enter into the gates, thanksgiving, and into the courts with praise. Be thankful unto Him and bless His name. The Apostle Paul, in the concluding epistles that he had wrote, gives us the same gratitude towards God. In the last chapter of Philippians, he said, be anxious for nothing, but in everything by prayer and supplication with thanksgiving let your requests be made known unto the Lord. And the last chapter of his letter to the church of Thessalonica or Thessalonica is in everything give thanks. This is the will of God in Christ Jesus concerning you. It is a sign of the goodness of the American people. We have set aside one day out of the year to thank God for all the blessings that He has given us. And the older we get, the more we see that He has really given us the blessings that He's bestowed upon us.
Amen.
So, America has been set aside by the President and reenacted by Congress as a day to be a day of national thanksgiving. Let us begin by thanking God for the abundance and blessing poured out upon us. There was a Frenchman who visited America and said, when America ceased to be good, then she ceased to be great. And how true that is. When we cease to don't want to be good anymore, then America is ever good. She is ceased to be great. And the sign of the goodness of America is the National Day of Thanksgiving. When you think of the beginning of our great country, you will look back and see when Columbus returned from discovering our continent. See, he didn't discover America. The book tells you that, but he didn't. He was way down south. And he followed some birds. And so the Indians wasn't discovered. He said, we know who we were all the time. So we wasn't discovered. But there's, in 1492, he sailed and discovered this continent. And when he went back, Spain marveled at the stories and the legends that they told. And the Spaniard returned with their great conquistadors. If I said that right. Explorers of the new earth. Among them we have, they was looking for a city, 7 cities with gold and silver, made of pure gold, and studded with jewels on them. And so that tells you a great deal about Spain, right there, what they come for. Nothing but for gold. And among them, the Spaniard came seeking gold, seeking the harms from American Indians, and what they could find in the New World. They're seeking to find their lust and to feel their appetite. There came Cortez. He searched Mexico and Lower California in the early 14 or late 1400s. And then we had one that come and searched out Texas, looking for the 7 cities. Remember that. They was looking for the 7 gold cities. And then we have another group that went and they searched for, in the 1500s, they searched for the 7 cities. They went to California. And California and all the way up that way, trying to find a place. We'll find DeSoto. He discovered the Mississippi River like it needed to be discovered. I mean, how could you miss it? But now he is considered, and finally we have Ponce de Leon. Yeah, he went into Florida looking for the 7 cities, and he was looking for the Fountain of Youth and the cities of gold. That was his purpose. But while all this is going on, we have another story. We have the story of the American pilgrims that came to this country, seeking the freedom of worship. Now we have a group. These were called English separates. They were hounded. They were butchered. They were killed. They was hung. They was burned at the stake. Everything in the world happened to them, all because they, or themselves, had the theory that man is a priest himself, and he has a right to seek God any way he wants to. He has that right. And so when Queen Elizabeth died in 1603, she was followed by James Stewart I. And he said, concerning the Pilgrims or the Puritans, that's what they referred to, I will make you conform or I will drive them out of the country. So they were in the eastern part of England, and they left England and went into Holland and stayed there a while, but they lived as separate. And they wanted to be free to do what they wanted to do, but they went to Holland, and they were separate from the people, separated from the people, and they, as the days passed, they decided to find a new home, a new life, a new country in the new continent, America. And so they got on a ship called Speedwell. And they sailed from there, they were sailing to Plymouth, England. Now, don't think I'm talking about Plymouth of the United States, but Plymouth, England. That's the country that the city they come from. And the other ship was the Mayflower. And so when they went back over there, they with Plymouth, they were other pilgrims on the ship of the Mayflower. And the Speedwell and the Mayflower set out across the stormy sea of North Atlantic to come to a new continent and the new home, America. About 300 years or 300 miles out, Speedwell, the ship had to go back to Plymouth because it lost its ability. And only the Mayflower went back to the New World. And they went back. I asked a teacher one time, I said, how come why did everybody start up north? It's cold as we is up there. Why did they come south? He said they got lost. The ship from Mayflower was blown up to the Hudson River and to the cove there of Coal Hill. That's where the Pilgrims were buried, at Coal Hill. When they come, or when they was going back, getting ready to go back, half of them had died. And they buried them on Coal Hill, but they wouldn't put a cross on there because they're afraid that the Native Americans that lived around there would see how many of them would die, and they would take over. So they knew that. Now, as 51 of them tragically had died during that winter, that first winter that they was there in the United States, they asked them if they wanted to go back. And there's one guy, John Brewer, replied, we are not men whose small circumstance and discouragement turns them aside from their commandments unto God. So they stayed. There wasn't no person went on that ship. They all stayed, all 50. It was 101 and 102 that left Plymouth, England, and half of them had already died. And to begin with, that first summer, they had built, they had, at the end, when the fall was coming, they had already built a church, and built 7 little houses on one street. They had one street in that whole town, and that's what they did. And they cleared 21 acres of land. And so when they cross the years and the decades, when we look back and see America, we forget what it went through to get to the nation that we are. And a lot of times people forgot what the old prophets said. Look unto the rock from which that you are hewn, and the hole of the pit which thou was diggest. Remember those things. And that is keeping with the will of God for us today. When we turn our back and look back and remember those foundations upon which the nation was built. In the light of the 1800s, 1877, I believe, Queen Victoria was celebrating the Jubilee, and they were celebrating. Biggest celebration that England had ever seen. They had, England at that time, all the money was in pounds. All the, everything was tied to England. England, the sun did not set on her empire. So she was at the height of her glory right then. But now, look at her now. From those seven, from all the empires, they come to celebrate the Diamond Jubilee of Queen Victoria. And at the end of that celebration, like a lightning bolt, there's one poet, Kipling. He said, lest we forget where we come from. And I think America today, with untold, uncounted blessing that God has bestowed upon us, how easy it is for us to forget where we come from and what happened. I guess the greatest part of history was the history of that guy wrote, Gibbons, the decline and fall of the Roman Empire. He gave 5 reasons for the collapse. They was all within. Nothing. No army could conquer. They tried and tried and tried, and they could not conquer the empire. The empire fell apart on the inside. So we need to remember that. So the South has always been noted, if you could look in the old books or old textbooks, it's all written by Southern oracles. They're the one that wrote it. And they said, one said, I stood and I looked and I seen the armies all pass by me and said, I thought, this is what makes America great, the armies, the navies, and as they sail by. Then he went to Washington, D.C. and stood there at the Capitol building and seen the Congress and the legislatures making bills and laws and all that. They said, this is what made it. Then he went to a town in Georgia on a farm. And he said, that's the reason America is so great. So, but be aware of saying what is good is evil and what's evil is good. Be aware of that. So many people today are saying what is good is evil and what's evil is good. We see it all around us. So be aware. Then God can bless America and God can bless America. This is our prayer for us today. Is God bless America. We can